Now it is. Now it's not. Now I can hear me. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry about that. You didn't miss much yet. So basically, what we're talking about is for those of us who grew up and watched Mr. Rogers as a kid, not anymore. Not anymore. It's all fixed. It's all fixed. Yeah, I can fix it another way too. It's good now, Michelle. Don't worry about it. Okay. Um, so what we're gonna talk about is what I was watching this thing about Mister Rogers' Neighborhood and how much he was inspiring for young boys and girls in his 30 years on public television, and how he managed to reach out to children and show genuine kindness and compassion. And I asked, after I was watching the special, I asked the question to the spiritual realm. I said, is my show kind of continuing in his legacy for adults? And Mr. Rogers answered me straight out to my ears. He said, yes, Michelle, your show with adults is continuing where I left off with kids. You've always showed genuine true love. You never sat there and judged anybody because of their faith systems. Well, sometimes you do get upset with people, which is understandable. I've never seen you ever be anything but true to your feelings, which immediately kind of showed me up. It was like, well, thank you. That's a very kind words. Because I said, because let me ask me, if he was still alive today, and if you were to write him a letter in 2025, what would you ask him? And that's the question. Is my show continuing on with your legacy? And I remember when Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood started out in the late 60s, it was a very unique opportunity for public television for children's shows. We forget that today because we're so used to how you doing. Um, we're so used to thinking that kid shows are just simple, but he actually got into some very sincere stuff. That was a little more complicated with many kids, but not talking down at them, but rather was trying to adjust themes that reached out to the eyes and ears of young boys and girls. And and I noticed that I kind of do the same thing with the adults. I don't talk down at you, and I never will, because I've always felt that what this world needs is not just like Jackie DeShannon would say. What the world needs is more love, sweet love. It seems like every day I walk into the YouTube and love is just not there. Um, and my channel is unique because we have a community, a variety of abilities where people um, work together towards a theme. We care about each other. We understand everybody's different viewpoints. We never argue about that my opinion is right and yours is wrong necessarily. I'm not saying we never do, but I would say more often than not, I would rather try to be a little more open minded about it. Um, like I said to Noodles when he said, "Oh, you got 4 years left of your life," and even if he was partially joking, I said, "Well, how did you come up with those numbers?" I said, Noodles, I'm concerned about you too, and the reason I'm concerned about you is what happened to my sister was also Capricorn, but I never said that, you know, that he was full of it. I just asked him where he came up with the numbers. So when I saw a YouTube video about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the things that you may not have known behind the scenes, I actually really thought about it because there's a lot about my show that people forget too. Um, And the fact is that number one is that I really do love what I do in my show. We really do reach out to a lot of people and continue to reach out to people today. And some people, it's kind of like Marmite, love it or hate it. Some love it, some hate it. It's just unfortunate because it's true. It doesn't seem to make any sense why someone would hate it, but some do, some don't. Um, so yeah, I'm okay, and I'm not a man. Thank you very much. In fact, if you look at my face close up, which I will switch camera full screen so you guys can see more of me, you'll know I'm okay. Okay, so let's get this on the screen so you can see it. Yeah, see, that's a woman's face there, not a man's face. So maybe on this tiny little screen you probably can't tell, but this is a lady's face. Um, so yeah, I always just thought that was absolutely fascinating. Um, and then I saw somebody said that the Pope did a pagan ritual to ICE, ice, frozen dihydrogen monoxide, better known as water, right? So he did a blessing to ice. Okay, I said maybe he was praying to the North American Snow Queen to spare the United States this winter. Um, I hate to say it, but not happening. Jesus. I can't get this camera. Oh, there goes the picture. Okay, got it back. Yeah. Yeah, it got a loose wire in here, so I gotta be careful. So how often do I what? Um, no, I don't even know what that is. So you're gonna have to tell me what that is. I have no idea what that is at all. I don't know anything about that. Um, I'm just a person doing an everyday life, everyday living, trying to hold on my daily business just like everybody else does. So I have no idea what that is. I don't normally even do portrait streams. I just did one because people kind of wondered. Noodle said, "Is hey, there are people that like your portrait streams." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay." They like my portrait streams, and I didn't want to do it in the studio. I wanted to do it in here because sometimes a lot easier. Um, and like I said, Noodles was supposedly going to contact me about being on his show a little later on. So I didn't want to go through, set up all the streaming in the other room, and then by the time I get the show ready to start at 7 o'clock, find out that Noodles is sitting there chomping at the bit going, "Hey, Michelle, aren't you going to come up on my show? I thought you were coming up at 7. Yeah. Um, so that's why I'm doing this now, is because I'm trying to reach out to you. So, it was a very fascinating video, and it's in my general on my Discord if you watch it. And I asked a valid question: how many of us grew up with the show, and how many of us kept in mind what Mr. Rogers was teaching us in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood? I know a lot of us kids growing up in the 70s were watching Mr. Rogers, and we really felt very strongly with what he was teaching us. And I think that really had an impact on me because I continued to do that even as an adult, despite the fact that I'm not a little kid anymore, I'm not a little girl anymore, and I'm still doing showing compassion and decency and kindness to everybody. And that's what we do in our YouTube channel. Is we have a community of people. Many of us are disabled, and yet we all come together and talk every morning, Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We cover all kinds of stuff, but we try to keep the so-called bullshit, you know what I mean, air quotes, bullshit out of it. It's we we tried. It doesn't mean we're successful. Um, but how you doing, Hammer Nails? Have you watched Harry Potter and the Prisoner? No, I have not. Jason said I watched Mr. Rogers. I met him as he filmed it here in Pittsburgh. That is so cool. I wish I had the option of meeting him. He was so influential for so many Americans, so many youngsters. Now, I still remember all the characters and the stories. A lot of them I do remember, even if it were not perfect memory of them. But I remember watching them so much as a kid. It was so special to me. You know, he come in the door, wave me my neighbor. You know, he puts sits down, he takes off his hard boots, his hard work shoes, and puts on his slippers. And the reason he did that, by the way, it was because the set floors were not soundproof, and they didn't really want the floor to be being clunky and lousy with creaking. Because even though there was carpet on top, um, the set floor wasn't built that solid. The sneakers help to keep things quieter for the production crew. But I guess it makes sense because a lot of parents did teach the kids take off your outdoor shoes for indoors for house shoes. That was a common thing in Japan. It still is to this day in Japan. My cousin with antiques to Don Brackett. He gave his autograph and a big plastic trolley. Well, that's cool. The trolley was always my favorite. I always loved the trolley. The trolley would go around and and then it would go to the land and make believe. And and of course the king and Lady Elaine and the other characters were always kind of special to me. And you know that Mr. Rogers did all their voices? He did all the voices. It wasn't some other voice actors. Large majority of those voices were all Mr. Rogers. I did not know that. I kind of suspected the king was. Um, but I think it's really interesting to think about how many of us adults today remember this from Generation X, and how many, maybe a couple of the early Generation Y may recognize it, but Generation Z and Generation Alpha have no idea what he was teaching. Um, I still got the trolley. They gave it out to all the people who worked on the set. Really? So they had a couple props of the trolleys, but that kind of makes sense. It really did kind of make sense. There would be a couple trolleys, especially at the end of the series when they finally, struck the set after he passed on. That the stuff that was left over would be given out to long term people who worked on the show, and that's okay. Galaxy Ice, it ain't your thing. I'm dating Carolyn, spiritual warrior now. By the way, Noodles, what's your plan for um tonight? What are you doing tonight? Since you're here, obviously you're watching me. So what's your plan? What are you going to do? Do you want to do anything at 7, or are we going to talk about it now? We can talk about it now because I'm talking about it right now. We can talk about this stuff. We don't have to do exactly at 7. Um, I don't know who Rick Jones is. I have beautiful blue eyes too. Yes, I do, but I have terrible teeth. Um, which is a whole nother story. Um, I'm almost home, says Noodles. Okay. Um, so it's supposed to be a noodle show at 7 o'clock. You still didn't give me you still didn't give me the Streamlabs link. So we'll try to get that together. And so I figured, come on. So like I said, I was watching the special, Mr. Rogers, and I really, really felt inspired to come up and talk about something I asked Mother God. I actually put up a general message, and let me ask me a question: if Mr. Rogers was alive, and you were to write him a letter today as an adult, what would you ask him? And I said, is my show in some ways kind of a carryover from your show, more for an adult audience? And Mr. Rogers' own voice came to me across the ether. He said, Michelle, your show indeed is very similar to my show with more of an adult audience. I am proud of you for what you've done. You have made a difference to live on YouTube for many adult people. Many people that felt ignored or lost, you have been there for them. I personally believe in you. Thank you. I'm not perfect, but I try. I don't know who that is. Um, blue the one way and the other blue the other way. Okay. By the way, let me I also saw another video which I didn't get a chance to go through completely because I didn't have time. This person had did a 30-day attempt to reach the Palladians through Three Eye Atlas. Which very interesting activities occurred. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to watch the whole video because I had to make some quick food so I'd have something to eat before I was supposed to meet noodles online at 7 o'clock. But the he said is that the Palladians did manage to reach out to him through his channeling, and it was absolutely fascinating that he was able to reach out to him. And Lumi said, "Why don't you try it?" I said, "Why not?" So he kind of explained what he did. And Lemmy said, Michelle, your bed face, I mean, you sleep facing the northwest. You could easily reach out to the Pleiadians because the Pleiades is northwest of you. And I said, well, we still don't know what, and we know he's an American. He said he tried reaching out to them at 11:11, but we don't know exactly where he is. And she says, well, that's true, but the Earth by 11:11, you should still be able to see the Pleiades if you look clear sky, even this time of year. Even if it's not perfect, it's worth a shot. And so we're going to try to channel out to the Pleiades and see if that works. Now, I had an interesting dream last night. It had nothing to do with the Pleiades. It had to do with a little teeny kitty cat. This is a normal type kitty cat, but the cat is no bigger than my thumb. It was an adult cat, no bigger than my thumb tip. Okay? This big. And one of the world's smallest cats. There's a wild cat that size. But this is a domesticated cat. And this teeny cat was sitting next to his full size counterpart. How the cat got so small, I don't know. But apparently, I guess the mother cat had this teeny kitten that never grew up any bigger than that. Not by much. I think as big as the guy was a mouse. And I found it absolutely amazing. I was like, it was such a cute little kitty. It was a little tuxedo kitty. I was like, wow. Of course, Rusty, the big old boy, decided to step on my chest at that point, wake me up. Plop! Ooh! Rusty looked at me like, "Hello, what are you talking about?" "Oh, um, a dream with Lumi." And, is like, "Yeah, you talk about a dream, all right. You want another cat in here, don't you?" I said, "No. I just, I was dreaming about a tiny, tiny kitty." It was just weird. Um, I don't want anything from you. I just, that's interesting. Uh, what? Oh, she looks like Sarah Gallows. Who's this? Russell Wasteful, home another R horror. Oh yeah, Carolyn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How you doing, CB? Good evening to you. Good evening to you. So, um, that's pretty much it. And then, of course, I just heard from a couple different sources that 3i Atlas has suffered a catastrophe and split into pieces. I don't know what caused that to happen. But the first question I asked Mother God was, were there any injuries? And she said, yes, there were injuries. I said, are they okay? I mean, are they evacuating? What's going on? Do they need help? How can I help them? How can I help the crew? She said, really, at this point, there's not much you can do. They are scrambling to get people to safety, but um, there's not much you can do right now because the artifact, which is the craft, had shattered near the Earth Mars orbit. And I said, "Oh," I said, "That is a disappointment." To be honest with you, because I was really looking forward to meeting them. Yeah, no, I don't think they had news. So I don't know if I don't know how many people were hurt or whatever, but if you could put a word out to your god or goddess and pray for them because they're way out there. I can't do anything about it except pray because whoever they were, they have suffered a major calamity, and there's no. They're trying to get everybody into life pods as best they can, or using some kind of a teleporter system. But if you guys could pray for them, that would be wonderful. Uh, well, you know what? I'd be careful. Galaxy Eyes, if this man is not in blue, you know it's not the real deal. Send him on his merry way. Because you know the real Noodles has got a blue wrench. So if this gun does not have a blue wrench, send him out. Well, you know what, buddy? Mods, you guys can block him if it's not the real noodles. You know that, right? That's why you're mods. So, um, I don't know what's going on with the situation with 3i Atlas if they got everybody safely off the vessel. Just send them out, man. Just send them out to Galaxy Eyes. So, so tomorrow is another day. It's another morning. Um, we're gonna be. I think I'll have to deal with this problem. Just give me a minute to go ahead and come in the back door, if you know what I'm saying. Just give me a second. You know, you guys would think you would learn something. Let's see. Let's go into the back door. Find out if it's the real noodles. No, it's not the real noodles. Lexi, is that person really on here? Oh, he's on no, he's on my channel. He's on your channel? He's on my channel. Okay, Loom, you take care of it. Aye aye, Captain. I'm on it. You forgot you were streaming on my channel too. Right. Yes, I forgot. I'm sorry. That's no problem. Let's just let me take care of this problem for you. Um, yeah. Okay, I see it. I can tell you right now if it's the real noodles. And it's the real noodles, guys. There it is. Yeah. Well, I can give them a timeout. Why don't you just time them out for what? 10 minutes? Yeah. 10 minutes. You'll better be done by then, right? Yeah. Okay. So I timed them out. All right. Keep your window. I'll keep your window open for me too. Okay. No problem. Um. Yeah. So I absolutely agree with you. From what you're telling me, is it's absolutely devastating that it has happened, and um, now we got debris of a exploded ship hurling towards Earth and Mars, and that's pretty concerning. It's concerning because we don't know how many people lost their lives. That's concerning. It's true. We don't know how many people lost their lives. Thank you. Um, but you know what? Maybe what if what if they already left on all the other little mini shuttles they had? Materialized, got everybody out of there, and deliberately blew it up on purpose to see how many people would feel empathy for the perceived loss of life. So, not exactly a false flag, but rather see how many people would react without knowing if that was the plan or not. I can't say. Yeah. None of your damn business, buddy. If you haven't been watching the show, you don't need to know. You don't need to know. I agree. Um, so that is what we started out with originally talking about. How did Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood affect you as a kid? What did you learn growing up as a kid? Um, how did his legacy leave a legacy on you after you became adults? That was the first thing. Then we discussed how several sources have shown that 3i Atlas has blown apart with pieces of shrapnel coming towards Earth and Mars. Um, and not knowing how many people have lost their lives in the process of the explosion. And we don't know. And and I'm hoping people will put a prayer in because all I found out is from the spiritual realm is that there are some injuries, there are some casualties, there are some real legitimate casualties and injuries. Many of them got safely out of harm's way, but not everybody did. Um, and just like any calamity, that I would like you to pray for the people of 3i Atlas. Indeed, if that's okay with me, if you could just do that, even if it sounds to you like it's a stupid idea, it's not meant to be stupid. I just want to see people realize that if there indeed was a real crew there, as Mother Guy was saying, that we show compassion for them. Um, that's the first thing. No, that's how I treat people who basically never watched the whole show and basically start talking talking like a smarty like a smart mouth. That's the way I talk to people who basically act like they cannot rewind and watch the beginning of the show and find out exactly what was said at the beginning of the show. But that makes the point. Can you guys rewind on a portrait live stream? No, you can't. You can't rewind. Oh, so in other words, even if you could, he can't. He can't rewind, and so he can't go back and say, "Oh, what the hell was she talking at the beginning?" Now we know. Now you know. Um. So everybody, I'm supposed to be going on noodles tonight. Um, about 7. So if we do make it over there at 7, let's see if it goes well. And also, I did do a portrait stream. I didn't do one yesterday because I did driving my truck better, which brought in more views than the stream is bringing in. Absolutely, it's true. The brought in 70 views on the truck driving stream. Yes, and I was gonna do this as a video, but let me. You know what? Why don't you just do this as a live stream and let people know what's really going on. And so just pray for the people of 3i Atlas. We don't know how many there were, but from what I heard, it was a catastrophic failure. It wasn't. I mean, it could have happened when something hit 3i Atlas that destabilized the vessel enough that it could have broken up. But regardless, if you could put a prayer in for them, okay? I'm sorry we don't have an eye on the sky news team out there covering it in real time, but just show a little compassion anyway. And if we don't know how or what's happening, so only apology, and only in the sense the fact is that you could have asked it in a better way. Uh, the way you asked it sounded very much like a very surly person that you didn't really think about asking it in a polite way. If you go back and look at the way you asked the question, you will see that your approach was very aggressive and very alarming to everybody here. So I'll apologize in the sense what I did tell you is if you did watch the beginning of the video, but unfortunately you cannot rewind any portrait stream. You couldn't. If you could rewind it, you would have seen it, and then you probably would have said, oh, okay." But that was just the way it came across to me was like an angry person that felt like everybody like you were just it almost sounded confrontational, and I don't really think that's really so fair. No, I lost friends when a couple things happened, from hurricanes to tornadoes to flooding. Um, but in this case, the Three Eye Atlas people were the ones I wanted to meet. And I was really looking forward to getting a chance to meet them and actually sit down and ask them questions. Because that's something I always wanted to do, right? Meet the ETs. Not the one that want to clap my cheeks, but rather the ones that want to sit down with me and share some of their stories. Because I love stories. So I know that this is going to be one of those videos that's going to sound kind of stupid. I'm sorry. It's just felt it was important to bring it to your attention. So, everybody, Brian PC, hello to you. I guess you all probably heard that Three Eye Atlas blew up. I found out from the spiritual realm that there are injured or some were rescued and managed to make it to safe ships. Safe, ships out, but there were a lot of hurt people. It was partially, it seems, because of what struck Three Eye Atlas had destabilized the vessel. And, and, that's all I can tell you right now. I don't know how many people made it out. I don't know how many people were on the ship. But, and even if you think it's stupid to worry about ETs, honey, I could just tell you, I'm sure they would do the same for you. I know they would have reached out to you too. So, um, and so that's about it. Yes, Brian PC. Remember, it was hit by something. Apparently, it destabilized the Three Eye Atlas structure and it split in half. It broke in half. Mother said to me that a lot of them did make it to say escape to the ships. They had escape pods, but not everybody made it out. That's all I know. I don't know how many. So I guess we have to wait for another 100,000 years again to meet. Well, maybe not 100,000 years, or maybe not 1,000 years. What about R2 Swan? That's way more like a comet than Three Eye Atlas was. R2 Swan is huge, but it is definitely more like a comet, like Borisov was. So I don't know much about R2 Swan at this point. I know that it's coming to originally a rendezvous point along with Three Eye Atlas, but I don't know what's going to happen now. I mean, everybody's talking about, oh my God, the pieces of Three Eye Atlas are coming to Earth. Well, I agree. That is a bit of a problem, depending on the pieces, depending on the number of pieces. That could be a really big deal. Three Eye Atlas could be, if they're just tiny micrometeorites, it probably wouldn't be much damage. But if the pieces are very large, it could cause some major events. Well, that's about it for now, guys. Just wanted to share that with you and see if Noodles is having me on the show tonight. Okay? See you all later. See you in the morning if nothing else, okay? Bye bye. Bye bye, guys. Yeah.